Oh, yeah.
You know, it sure looks pretty.
Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's City Council meeting. We'll jump right into a discussion on feral cats in the city, led
Thank you.
by Doral.
All right.
Oh, and welcome Brian, joining us remotely.
All right. You're probably wondering why I'm interested in feral cats. I've noticed a population growth in my neighborhood, and for many years of my life, I've been aware of Best Friends Animal Sanctuary down in Kanab. We've even gotten 4 or 5 dogs from them and have been really great to work with down there. They're a big entity now nationwide. And so in the process of dealing with these cats, I become aware of Holly Sizemore, who is here with us. 34 years ago, she discovered a colony of community cats eating near a restaurant dumpster. The experience inspired her to co-found the first trap and neuter return organization in Utah. So we got the #1 person in our midst tonight that knows this topic. She is part of Best Friends senior leadership team. And I hope you understand I'm introducing her because she's going to talk for a few minutes. She's a part of the senior leadership team. Her current title is Chief Mission Officer of Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. Her goal, and many people in Utah's goal, is to have no kill in Utah and eventually nationwide. Holly, I'll turn some time to you to explain what our city could do to learn more about this. Yeah, come on up in the center there.
And I'm not the #1, I may just be the oldest one. Thank you for that introduction, Doral, and thank you all for your time and attention to this issue. 35 years ago, when I did just react to the stray cats in my own neighborhood, trap, neuter, vaccinate, return was illegal everywhere in Utah. And now almost every county and city either runs their own TNVR program or they support others that do it, the private sector or the nonprofit sector that do it. And I'm hoping that Utah County will join the ranks of making the kind of clear policy measures that will make it clear that TNVR is something that is allowed and embraced by the community. And why? Why is it an important policy issue? We do know that many people, even people who oppose trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, admit that what we've currently been doing for decades doesn't work. We also know one thing that's very clear, and I have the detailed survey results here. The vast majority of Utah County voters do support trap, neuter, vaccinate, return. This shows that 72% of Utah County voters either strongly support or support it, and only 15% strongly oppose it or oppose it. However, right now, current practices, animal control and shelter practices and taxpayer dollars only support the removal of cats, the removal and impoundment to the shelter. There's no taxpayer dollars and no actual local policy support for TNVR. Now, TNVR has been codified at the state level. And I'll get into that a little bit more. It's called Utah's Community Cat Act, and it allows municipalities and cat caregivers to do TNVR and local municipalities to do it. The other reason why is that, as Doral mentioned, the mission, the agenda of Best Friends Animal Society is to create a no-kill country where every shelter across the United States is saving all the savable animals. The statistical benchmark we use for that is a 90% save rate. We recognize that about 10% of animals are actually too injured, too ill, too dangerous to safely rehabilitate and put back in the community. So no kill doesn't mean you save everything. No kill means that you save the ones that can be saved, including community cats. Right now, there's 59 shelters in Utah, 57 of them. Well, Uinta is about ready to achieve it next month. There are 2 animals away. all 57 out of 59 are no-kill, with the exception of the 2 shelters in Utah County. And Governor Cox in 2024 declared that year as the no-kill shelter year and challenged the entire state to become no-kill in 2024, which at that time there were 12 shelters that had yet to achieve it. And so 10 of the 12 have made it, and we're very proud of them. And we're really proud of the work that the animal shelter workers and the policymakers have done to make that happen. Third, I would say is that there is a disagreement with the South Utah Valley Animal Services in terms of 2 things: whether or not they agree that it's a good policy. In the past, they've strongly opposed TNR, and so has North Utah Valley Animal Services. Quite frankly, it's the reason why no-kill hasn't been achieved. And there's been disagreement and differing opinions from best friends as to, we say it is legal, and in some individual conversations with individual board members, they say it's not legal. And so I'm hoping that by local municipalities making it very clear through an ordinance revision that their citizens are allowed to conduct TNR per the Utah's Community Cat Act, that it makes it very clear that it actually is allowed at the local level. I think there's also some disagreements about how much authority individual animal control officers and/or shelter personnel have, and how many barriers can be put on individual residents and citizens who want to conduct TNVR. And to give you an example, so right now, with these community cats, if you're not familiar, they're often called stray cats or working cats or feral cats. A lot of people do appreciate their work and how they keep mice away. And so a lot of times what you see is in any given neighborhood, there's 4 or 5 people that take care of the one cat. He has like 5 different names, but they all put food out and they appreciate the work that the cats does in deterring rodents. Best Friends has long provided resources to help get those cats sterilized, vaccinated. We just recently offered more resources to Utah County residents in hopes to help curb the population. However, to have the support of the policymakers, I think that people right now are doing it and they feel criminalized, they feel penalized, they feel worried. And so right now, if someone wants to, that community cat that's living in the neighborhood, if someone wants to call animal control or call dispatch, right now, our taxpayer dollars allow that cat with no questions asked. No one's asking, do you know who owns the cat? No one's asking them to prove if it's a nuisance. No one's asking anything but saying, okay, we'll pick up the cat and take it to the shelter. Now, an official said to me the other day, well, we'd be mad. We have a cat like that. We would be mad if they took our cat. And I said, well, let me ask you this. Would you notice that the cat's missing? Because these cats often wander the neighborhood. And he's like, no, I probably wouldn't notice for a few days, And I said, so the cat could be killed by the time you even notice it's gone. And I said, and secondly, say you do notice it. If you go down to the shelter, would you be able to prove that you own the cat by showing some vaccination records or medical records and a picture? Well, no, we don't have pictures of the neighborhood, the mouser, Okay, well, say you do. Say you did snap a picture and you did keep the vet records when you got it fixed at our clinic in Orem. You go to the shelter and then you're asked to pay upwards of $160, $770 to say that I own the cat, and that it's my cat, and I'll pay this fee in order to get the cat back. And so we believe that trap, neuter, vaccinate, return is done largely as a good Samaritan, humane way to reduce the population, and that the current policies and practices actually penalize the people who need to do this. So the easy way that we see it to really clarify is to just adopt this ordinance and to say we support this code that is already well laid out in state law. So any questions, comments?
Thank you for that.
Ken to put his microphone on mute.
I also brought just some information for y'all if you want about Best Friends and the survey, so you can see the actual data that we have around the policy and who else supports it. National Animal Control Officer Association being one. Many people do support it. I would say the biggest opponent nationally is the radical animal rights group, PETA. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they oppose it. And so it was interesting to me that.
Wow.
So
That's
that.
Really?
PETA. Mhm.
They're more for euthanasia?
Yeah, they believe that people are fundamentally irresponsible and shouldn't have pets. And so they think that it would be better to euthanize them than to risk them being put in the hands of irresponsible human beings. So it is interesting. You don't often see a semi-rural county siding with PETA, but in this case, we do see it.
Let me share my personal experience with spay and neutering, trapping. I have trapped some cats and taken them down to the place in Orem. It's a best friends facility. I took these cats in there. They did what they did. They vaccinated, they spayed and neutered, complete vaccinations, sterilized. Excuse me. They fixed a leg wound. They pulled a tooth. My favorite one, they microchipped for $10, which was cool. They treated one for fleas, and now they've loaned me extra traps. So I'll be taking 3 next week, all at once, And so this is the coolest organization. You take your traps in, drop them off in the morning, and you pick up your cats all fixed in the evening. And it works.
But only for feral cats, right?
Yes, yes, oh yes. I took my own personal cat down to the vet and paid $300 for a male neutering, gotta get it right.
We
Yeah,
just scan every cat for a microchip that comes to the clinic. So if we find a microchip or if there's a caller, we call the number.
so correct me if I'm wrong, Holly, but Utah County kills 2/3 of the cats in the state,
Yeah,
the whole state.
the average save rate for every other shelter in Utah is over 90%, but Suvis is really, unfortunately, they're last in the numbers of cats that are killed. And it's not because the staff don't care. They're amazing people who work really hard and they want to save those lives. It really is, I think, a reflection on the long-standing opposition to trap, neuter, return.
I think too, I mean, Janet used to sit on the board and I currently sit on the board. And I know a lot of times if a cat has been run over or whatever, or people just automatically take them to the shelter. They're not going to take them to a vet to
Right.
get fixed. And so I think that sometimes the save rate might be skewed a little by the numbers of people who bring in a cat that cannot be saved.
Well, plus I think a lot of them get dumped in South Utah County
That are healthy. though.
because we have more open space.
I mean, they're doing this in Cedar City, St. George, Kanab, Logan, I mean,
Wasatch
Cache
County.
County, Wasatch, I mean, they're doing it at Hebert, they're doing it everywhere. And
Everywhere
so
but here.
every community has some unique things, but not so unique that, and again, if the cat is injured, it's not eligible for TNR. I mean, it could, if a caregiver comes forward and says, oh, that was a cat that I'm caring for and it has a broken leg, we would do what we could to help them, but this
What do
is.
you do with cats that are brought into you that are feral cats that are injured?
We don't, to be eligible for TNVR, they have to be healthy, free roaming cats.
Okay, so
that
if
they don't
someone
have
found
this-
a cat then that was injured but feral, since you don't take care of them, where do you suggest they take them?
those cats would go to the shelter. The injured animals should go to the shelter first and foremost.
So,
Now,
and if they
in the
pass
event-
away, then that number then would go against the shelter on their save rate.
Yeah, that's part of the 10%, where we find that typically nationally,
Every shelter takes those.
I mean, 57 shelters
know.
out of 59 have a save rate of over 90%
Mhm.
now in Utah, at rural, urban, suburban. So, that's just the facts.
Lynn has a question.
Yeah,
If it is a discussion, can we raise questions?
yeah, so let's go through the council first and then I will open it up. And I know that, are you here on behalf of the shelter? Is someone?
I'm
Carrie?
here to answer some questions, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if
So, I mean,
anybody
I-
has questions about the stats for the animals in Woodland Hills or anything else, Carrie from the shelter is here. But
Oh,
Lynn-
good.
And I do think it's important that we will give you certainly an opportunity if you have a differing point of view to be heard. But we do have some formalities that we try to accommodate where it's not going to hijack this presentation, because I think that this is a valuable presentation deserving of being heard. So, council, do you have any particular questions that you want to ask?
Just, I guess, where's the opposition coming from? You say, we're not doing it here in Utah County. Where is the opposition coming from to do it?
Well, we offered $1 million pilot program if Provo City would sign on, and that never went through because the opposition
Council
was.
passed it,
The
but
council passed it, but then we couldn't get a meeting with the chief BB and the mayor to actually then architect the pilot and design what would work for both parties.
For $1 million, we'll give you.
I would say
Get the money.
there's a gentleman by the name of Tug Getling. He's the director of the North Utah Valley Animal Shelter. He's been there about 15 years. He has always been a staunch opponent of TNVR, and in fact did author a 98-page paper on why it's terrible. And so I honestly believe that it's his longstanding influence within the police departments that has created this sort of broader opposition. Because honestly, when I talk to elected officials and people doing it, everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense, and it's not perfect. We never claim that it's the perfect approach, but what we do know, even Tug himself on record has said, what we're doing doesn't work, but he has not been willing to allow this.
I wish Dudson was here tonight because I think, if I'm right, it doesn't, the Utah County Sheriff's Office is not in favor of it. They pick up a lot of the cats and dogs and that are in the whole county.
Yeah.
Especially that south part that is unincorporated. And so when I was talking to one of the sergeants not too long ago, and he said that they were concerned about it because you have to drop them back off wherever they were picked up. So if they're just picked up out in the middle of nowhere, that's where they get dropped back off, and there was a concern there.
So what I think creates an easy way for them to be opposed is that it's all their work and their interactions with cats and the people are all the people who are complaining. It's the 15% of the people who don't want the cats. So they never have the opportunity to interact because there's no policies or support for people doing TNR. So they never interact with that side of the community, even though it's the vast majority. And so what we have found, my favorite story is in Las Vegas when they had decided to do it. And I was training, I went in to do an orientation with their animal control officers. And one of the officers looked at me and because, we've been training the public, take them off the street. That's what success looks like. And then she's like, and now you're telling him we're going to put him back? And she said, are you trying to get me killed? And she was really afraid. And my heart kind of sank because, I don't want animal control officers to feel that way. But what was really amazing is that a year later, she was the biggest champion of the program because what it allowed her to do for the first time ever was interact with the rest of the community who either liked the cats or at least would tolerate them if there was a way to mitigate the nuisances. And the thing that our program does that the removal doesn't is we actually do troubleshoot for people too, and we give away humane cat deterrents. So if people want cats to stay away from areas where they aren't wanted, we actually help them with the equipment and the education to do that meaningfully. Right now, removal doesn't do anything. So it takes that one cat away, you never get them all, they continue to breed, and so it becomes this taxpayer subsidized cat eradication cycle.
I have another question. As I've sat on the board for the South Valley Animal Shelter, it wasn't in my wheelhouse beforehand. So every time we discuss anything, I go and ask other people, what do you think? And so I was talking to a few veterinarians about this and what they think, and I didn't realize it, but feral cats are on the national invasive species. And so it makes, and they get worried about disease, because you may spay and neuter them and return them, but they might or potentially could have disease that could affect livestock, et cetera, especially because we still are living in kind of a rural area for a couple more years, not much longer, but for a couple more years. And so how do you mitigate that on if they are diseased animals, diseased cats? Because I think if I'm right, because a few years ago, they had feral cat legislation, which kind of was, people were joking about it, but it was real serious, right? And about the spread of disease through the cats themselves, because don't they run in like colonies or something like that, right?
Yes.
And so as that happens, and if they have disease, it could affect other animals.
Yes, it's
And
very
they've
good.
had some that have had tested positive for like avian bird flu and things like that.
I do not know of a cat in Utah that's tested positive for avian bird flu. In fact, so yes, the spread of disease is actually one of the main tenets of trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, is why we do the V. When you just remove, say there's a colony of 7 cats, the people who don't like the cats usually only trap the most visible ones. So they usually get 2 or 3 or 4, but the remaining 3 or 4 continue to breed and they're not vaccinated. The great thing about trap, neuter, vaccinate, return is that typically the volunteers who then are doing the sterilization and the trapping for TNVR, they really care about the well-being of the cats, and they're pretty diligent about, they get really smart about getting all the cats. And to Doral's point, if there is some other minor issue that we can fix at our clinic, we are not a full clinic. We don't have an x-ray machine, so we can't do everything, but we certainly, we will apply flea medication. So we actually help prevent that barrier
Vaccination.
with the
So, like,
vaccinations and the treatments.
So Doral's bringing in his 3 cats. What if you found that one of them was diseased, the other 2 are fine? So you can fix the other, but you give him back the one that has a disease. What does he do? Where does he take that?
I mean, I think first of all, we have to think of statistically the
I just
chances
worry
of,
about that kind of
so
thing.
the chances of a cat getting a disease in a shelter is a bajillion times fold higher than a cat's chances of getting a disease out and about. Why? Well, when you pack them all into a place, that's what happens. We just took a bunch of cats from Uinta County Animal Shelter, and now we have 30 cats quarantined because one of them tested positive for FELV, and before it.
So you do the testing then, so that when you said you tested him?
There's a very small chance that cats will have FELV when they're taken out of, there's about a 2% chance. So it's actually better to use our resources towards the spay neuter and the vaccinations than to test every cat, because it's like $40 a cat. So we don't test unless they appear ill, and then we do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
But
to
if they're
know.
healthy and happy and of the right body weight,
If they're purring.
yeah. But I will say the number one greatest risk of a cat getting a communicable disease is by ending up in the shelter.
So Doral, one thing I wanted to raise here for you to take note of, if we head down this path, we do have a code 5.6A.9B.
Can you say that again?
5.6A.9B. And it's called running at large, and it says cats. It is unlawful for an owner or person having charge, care, custody, or control of any cat to allow such a cat to run at large on the property of another. The owner or person charged with responsibility for a cat found running at large shall be strictly liable for any violations committed by the cat. This seems a little extensive, regardless of whether or not the person knows that the cat is running at large.
Wow. So
That's a typical ordinance from
we
like the
will need
1980s.
to
we need to do
potentially
something.
address what that code looks like.
Okay.
'Cause that seems pretty extensive.
And
Get their cat on their own property. No one.
the state law actually explicitly exempts them from feeding bans and I think licensing, but it doesn't mention the roaming at large. So you may have to address that. That was like boilerplate. I saw that language over and over again many years ago. A lot of people have mellowed it out a little bit, just knowing how,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, people's pet cats.
Nobody's cat stays in its yard.
Right. So.
And regarding the sheriff, we did bring it up in our staff meeting and I know that Sergeant Dudson did, so that would be another area that would need to be addressed is because I think that you're right, Carrie, is that the county sheriff generally is not enthusiastic about supporting this, and so it would be something that would have to be worked out.
You know.
And I don't want to speak for him, he's not here, but
I know it can be worked out because every county's done it but us. It's just so bizarre to me that we're the.
Well, and we are here to help. It's just, I think for those guys, look, we understand a lot of the municipalities around here, they don't have dedicated animal control officers. They're trying to do all this stuff as police officers, right? And so when they're going to pick up a cat, the last thing they want to have to do is have a big, long conversation. And a lot of them think that that's what this will require. We're like, no, just give them the brochure and they can call us and we'll talk to them and help them. So I think just being able to get in a room and kind of talk about what will work for them so that they're not feeling overburdened. But yes, there will be situations where a cat that someone has trapped and taken to the shelter would be put back and that person might see it. Now, again, we put out door hangers and we talk to people who are saying, you don't like cats, call us. We'll give you that. So 9 times out of 10, we can mitigate the people who have problems with the cats. And most of the time, those people don't want to see them killed. But we can just help actually say, well, what problem are they causing for you? Let's help you out with it. And usually we can satisfy it. There will be 1 or 2 people that will never satisfy. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I know from my experience with the city, the only place I've seen really cat issues is over by Doral's house. Over in that area of the city.
We don't really get a lot of feral cats in our city, and I always kind of not seriously joke, but that we have a lot of wildlife here that probably take care of us.
That's true.
That's natural.
I do think that is a real thing that the natural predators here keep the population at a level that a lot of other places don't.
Although I have 2 cats that were feral that we spayed and neutered and got immunized. Anyway, and they live in my garage and they're my mousers. And they roam the forest and they're 12 years. They're still
Oh,
here.
yeah. And some of them can do great, especially if they do have a little place they can get away.
We had a feral cat that same, but
So,
Not- no
I
longer.
appreciate
Got too old.
you coming the far distance you did, and I appreciate citizens who came.
Brian and Lynn still has a
Brian,
question.
okay.
She didn't get to ask her question.
Okay, thanks.
yeah, Brian, go ahead, sorry.
That's okay. So I've read Dr. Bott's letter. I researched a bit of what was in there after Doral brought this up previously. I'll give you my take on this. So what a lot of the veterinarians are saying is there's better ways to do this, but what we're doing currently doesn't work. What the county is doing currently isn't resolving the issue. This is at least a step in the right direction. It might not be perfect, and it will help. So I'm kind of leaning towards this because it's not perfect, and they keep saying, well, a better thing would be to do this, and a better thing would be to do that. And nobody's doing anything except for the folks sitting, talking to us right here. So I think this is something to consider. Is this a better option than what we're doing? And is it going to change what the sheriff's department's doing? No, right? And I think having another option available gives us some flexibility for people who like Doral who enjoy taking care of those feral cats and watching them play and eat mice and everything else. So I'm kind of leaning towards looking at this and seeing if there's a way that we can make this work, because it is a step at least in a direction, right? We know where we know where the experts say we should be, and we know where we're at, and at least this is a step in that direction. So that's kind of my comments on this.
Okay, thanks, Doral. We need to move this along.
Yeah,
I
we
think
got
that
Yeah.
we've belabored this point, and I appreciate your time. But I do think that, Doral, so just as far as next steps go, so I'm assuming that you want to propose some legislation, an ordinance that accommodates this. And then as far as the shelters take on this, I mean, we would certainly want to hear that as part of that presentation. And then obviously, Holly, you would be able to come and retort as you see fit. But I think that this was just an FYI, and so we can take it to the next step where if you want to do some proposed ordinance change that addresses the ordinance that Ben talked about, and then the council can hear all sides. And yes,
Can I
Jody.
make a strong suggestion that it's not an ordinance, but a resolution?
Okay,
An ordinance, it comes with a class B or C misdemeanor fine. If
okay,
someone doesn't do what's outlined in the ordinance, even our wildlife, our feeding, wildlife was passed by a resolution instead of an ordinance, so.
I think the mayor's.
This is permissive.
Amendment.
This is permissive, so it's not like, it's not requiring you to do something, it's allowing. So I don't know that there would be any fines involved. So I would say an ordinance would make it more clear that this is the policy of the local municipality.
okay.
But-
Well, something to consider
Okay.
in what you
Thank you,
propose.
Mayor.
Okay, and thanks again, Holly.
you
So
so
I know that there are a few people
Lynn
that,
did ask her question.
who?
Lynn, you were told there you.
Yeah, no, if you,
You know what, if, maybe I'm willing to just wait, because a lot of my concerns were addressed, including I pay attention to the codes. So that's actually, and that was a good one to bring up, but I'm really interested in any pilot programs that maybe Woodland Hills would be involved in. Mainly because I know Provo is lackadaisical, and I don't wanna wait for Provo. We're working on our 7th feral cat now, not because we like cats, but because it's inhumane to let them breed. And believe it or not, there's more than one cat colony in this city. I know a bunch of them. But we're gonna start in our neighborhood, and anyway, I would, I'm willing to come back when you guys have something that you really do wanna open up to the city for discussion.
Just really quickly,
Thank
we
you.
did, starting July 1, offer more spay neuter surgeries for Utah County residents only for free. So you can go online and get the information and make appointments. Doral has all the info.
I do know. She's gonna watch on the next one.
very good. Thanks
Thank you
again for
very
your time.
much. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thanks, Doral.
And if
Okay.
anybody has questions for Carrie at the shelter, like how many feral cats
Want
we
them to
have,
come
we can
back.
call her. They're gonna come back in
Yeah.
October.
But if anyone, it's just not on the agenda, so we're gonna have to make that a separate, or if someone has questions offline. Okay, item 2, consideration of a policy clarifying elected officials that we are not eligible for benefits. Chris?
Yes, how you guys doing? We had our about every 4 years we have an audit from the Utah retirements, our retirement pension plan, and one of the findings this year was that we don't have a policy on if municipal or elected officials can receive pension plan. And so currently you guys do not get any benefits at all, and so this policy would just indicate that it would be also the same for the Utah retirement systems, that elected officials would not qualify for the retirement plan. I know you guys have a lot of other benefits, like you work 40 hours a week and get paid $200 a month, but this would just solidify the pension.
just-
then.
One more dagger.
We just really
Yeah.
don't.
I want a 401k taken out of my stipend.
Okay,
you do
I could do that if you want.
Well, a lot of cities do have this. That's what's so funny when people have told me that they have a retirement plan as a council person, I'm like, what? But
Yeah.
they do. So that's good to clarify.
Yeah,
Hey.
and I would tell you that that's pretty simple, straightforward. So that's all it is.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody have any comments, concerns? Okay, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
And then item 3 and 4, some zoning changes. Wayne, is that you, or is there somebody else that will be making?
I believe for number 3, I don't see Christy Burchett here, but she came in the office. She filled out an application for a change in zoning. Her property is currently zoned at R1-2, and she's requesting to be able to go to an R1. I did not ask her reasonings behind why she wanted to. I felt that would be something that she would bring up to the planning commission. Formal recommendation was made to them.
And that's all we're doing here today, is just,
Moving it forward in the process, no decision on your part tonight.
okay, well, Then, so which one was that? That was,
65 East Mountaindale, number
Okay.
3,
So
okay.
we basically are just approving it to move forward to the planning commission.
be considered
not.
by them to look at. Number 4, Alan Wakefield, who is present, can go ahead and make
Okay,
his
come on up,
request.
Alan.
Thank you. Appreciate you all
Thank you.
considering this. Yep. My property is currently zoned R1. We would like to do an expansion that creates additional garage space and storage space and a deck that would become usable rather than the little card table size that I currently have. And this is in so that help us to put down greater or longer roots here in the city. We've lived here 23 years now, and we'd like to dig a little deeper into the ground, become a little more permanent resident. And I need a garage that is usable for me, and that's primarily what it is. The map shows in blue the request to change from an R1 to an R19. Are there any questions?
Is it because the setbacks would be different?
Yes, setbacks become different.
And so then your plan would fit within the other one?
Within the R19, and we would sign anything that says we will never sell the other half of the property, whatever that requires.
Yeah, can we make a note on your plat or?
Oh, whatever, yes.
I would think it's at least worth sending to the planning commission.
Yeah,
That's my thought.
that's where we are tonight. So, but any other questions for Alan on that?
So is this all the garage?
Yes, it's, the garage is L-shaped, and where I currently have a
Somewhere?
rock retaining wall underneath that is collapsing, and I'm losing a portion of a shed. That would become a storage space under that, not the long rectangle, but the odd shaped portion. That becomes a storage space as well.
Like a cold storage or something, the cement?
It's all concrete.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the back's where your deck will go.
Yes.
Where does the Disneyland storage go? Is it part of that garage?
That's part of Ann's requirements.
I know. It would be fantastic.
Well, which one of us fights the harder for it? I'm not sure.
Okay, well, thank you, Alan.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Alan, before you go, Alan, hang on. Diana brought up, now I talked to Ben about this earlier today, and Diana brought up, and maybe let's make some clarification here. I know it'll go into the planning commission. But she actually talked about doing a variance rather than a zone change. And I know that you, Wayne, Ben, and Ted have worked on this and decided this is the best route. It's for the planning commission to look at and help make those recommendations to us. If you would like to speak to that, I'd appreciate it.
You want to speak to that, or do you want me to speak to that?
I'll defer. I don't know details of how the variance works. So if you would.
So, in full disclosure here, I am, helping Alan with this construction project. So I will recuse myself from any vote on this topic, but for a variance, to be granted a variance, you really have to prove that you are currently being harmed by the current situation, right? And the addition of a garage and storage space would be nearly impossible to prove that there is a harm. also, or safety issues.
If he leaves, the fire department will be harmed.
The city would be in harm, but not unfortunately the Wakefield. So we feel that as I have, fought for other people in the city to potentially get variances with other construction projects that I've been working on, there's just for the very strict, and you would probably be able to speak to this even further, Mayor, as a former member of the variance committee. It'd be very, very, very hard to gain the justification on those 5 bullet points of criterion that you'd have to meet to get a variance for something like this.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb for sure. Okay,
Thank you
I'm
for
fine with-
answering that.
Planning Commission's very thorough. I'm fine with sending it to Planning Commission.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
So
All right.
I had one other thing to talk about with this, not about Alan's request, but I'm kind of curious. I asked Ben about this today, is why do we, it seems like putting extra time onto our residents and people who want to build for us to make these recommendations and then go to Planning Commission and then come back to us. Is this required that we actually send it to Planning Commission, or could this kind of thing go straight to Planning Commission and not have to come through us first?
Well, I believe that we do it because it is required, and Wayne is nodding in agreement. And so I think that, yeah, our ordinance does oblige us to add this step. As to the justification or the purpose behind it, I can't speak to that.
Okay, I'll look into it more.
Any insights on the legislative history of why we do this?
Ordinance requires it. It doesn't mean that the ordinance couldn't be changed. I did notice that other cities have it go to the planning commission and then go to the city council.
Can we send that request to the planning commission as well? To look at that ordinance?
You could, but if there is no interest even in the council, even looking at it, it's kind of mute then. If you guys aren't even willing to explore an idea and they bring something to you, it's kind of.
Yeah, that's true. It does save the, I mean, we can make a fair, well, you can make a preliminary sort of assessment of a situation so that you don't put in a lot of time and effort. Yeah, Wayne?
We're seeing situations where seemingly there are not a lot of controversial issues with it. But should you not receive it first and we look at it and it's kind of controversial and you say, no way, as we bring it back to you, then there's time wasted that we've spent on that particular issue.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and there is notifications that have to go out to all property owners within 300 feet, and we can stop that before they go out by doing it this way. So that makes sense.
They go out for a public hearing by the city council, remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a good point, Brian. Anything else on that? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Item 5 then, discussion of the proposed development agreement with Three Bridges. So this, just to recap, what we had proposed to Three Bridges as, they had indicated and we were in agreement that the salt shed was something that had too many moving parts. And so while we were hoping to perhaps bundle that into an overall agreement, that didn't seem feasible. So what we had discussed with Three Bridges and what is before you tonight, just for discussion. So our asks would be the new mailbox and parking area with mutually acceptable design, water tank that essentially gives us sufficient storage all the way through to build out. They covenant not to de-annex from Woodland Hills and go into Salem. They will provide a drainage solution that we are already in some respects liable for. And then,
Zoning,
okay, well, that's what they would ask for.
yeah.
So then Three Bridges would in turn get the roundabout access to their development. The development agreement allows for higher density in the Woodland Hills portion of the development. And I believe that that sums it up. Am I missing any key pieces? I think that's it. So they sent us that agreement and we have sent it to our attorneys for review. Obviously, we're gonna have a public hearing on it. But I just wanted to give everybody publicly an update on where that stands. And then I know that, remind me of your name again.
Scott.
Scott, yeah, I know, Scott, you sent us an email and you have some concerns about traffic, and our public works director is not here. He's on his way, okay, because he would be able, as a civil engineer, he's gonna be the one that would be able to more, I think, specifically answer those questions, but.
In the parking lot, we'll be in 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, well, excellent.
So we said no annexation, the drainage, the water storage, and the mailboxes with parking. Those are our
Yes,
requests, right?
those
Okay.
are our requirements.
So-
And then, okay, we'll get to the public. We're gonna just have the council.
I was concerned about the water where my goal in our city is to always have 2 pumps, separate locations, you know, we've been burned before. And it sounded like in the agreement, we wouldn't own as much of the Maple Canyon after things progress to a certain point. Do I understand it right?
No, and again, I want to talk to the specifics, but we have an interlocal agreement. We voted on
Same.
that. And so it's more just like
Can we
if we
speak to
have,
that?
huh?
Do you want me to speak to that a little?
Oh, yeah, if you could.
So in the Maple Canyon well, we own 40%,
Right.
right, of the well and the tank.
More than 300 gallons, 100,000.
So there's 2 points here that we're talking about. One is the source, which is the well, the pumping capacity,
Yeah.
and the other is the storage capacity.
Right.
This agreement gives away our 40% of the storage after they have built a new tank, which will hold far more than our storage capacity here. So the booster will be able to, that's on Maple Court, will fill up both tanks up on Broad Hollow. So we are far ahead, in my opinion, through this agreement. We are not removing or giving up any of our ownership of the well, just the storage.
Okay, that booster station over on Maple Court, that's the 40% of Salem's.
No, the booster station is 100% owned by
Yeah.
Woodland Hills.
100% us.
So
Okay,
it's the well up Maple Canyon
Okay,
that we own 40% of, plus 40% of the storage in the tank up
We
there.
will have 40% of the
so
storage
they
then.
are replacing, in fact, improving our storage.
I meant the new storage.
Vastly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it actually gets to sufficient storage all the way out through full build out. All right, Ted, I don't know if there's any
So
current
we'll
water questions,
continue
but
to have our same amount of 40% of storage as well as the ownership. This just allows it to be in a different
It'll be
place.
more, it'll be more.
so swallow your cookie and so
This is dinner.
if you could explain to us, well, I hope it has
Day old cookie in the
walnuts or
basement
something in
downstairs.
it.
You got a string, right? There you
So
go.
just to clarify with respect to what the Three Bridges tank and
The water tank
access to
situation.
the well and so forth, can you just sum it up for us as to what the current proposal would do in terms of our accessibility to the pump and the water and then also the storage?
Sure. So what the current proposal does, basically, Three Bridges, they need additional tank storage. And we own or have share in 40% of the Maple Canyon tank that we share with Salem. So Salem has 60%, we have 40%. That 40% equates to 300,000 gallons. We need 300,000 gallons for our growth. What Three Bridges is proposing to do, sorry, I'm still catching my breath. I ran
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
I got you.
So if I
Right out
sat,
of the
that's
parking
why I
lot.
sat winded for a minute. Well, that and I'm eating a cookie, but, so, Three Bridges needs the 300,000 gallon storage. So what they're proposing to do is to build us a new water tank that will be solely our water tank, up by our existing water tank of 550,000 gallons, which replaces the 300,000 gallons we have in Maple Canyon and an additional 250,000 to get us through to build out. So in effect, then we would then relinquish our 300,000 in Maple Canyon tank and we would get the 300,000 gallons in our city.
The same amount of water rights for that extra water, or do we?
It's not extra water, just storage.
Okay.
So we don't relinquish any water rights. We still get the same 40% water, wet water out of the well, Maple Canyon well. We just relinquish our storage by replacing with new storage holdings.
Are we,
Mind reader.
are we losing any pumping abilities?
No.
Okay.
So we still have 40% share of the wet water that comes out of the well in Maple Canyon. And we can pump that then to our tanks through our booster
And
station,
then up there.
which is equivalent to about 500 gallons a minute. So we keep that 500 gallons a minute, but then we get 300,000 gallons storage here, which will replace the
And
300,000.
they'll build and pay for the.
They'll build and pay for it.
But it's a bigger one. It's not just.
It's a bigger tank. It's one that actually they're proposing to build us a bigger tank. It'll be on our property of our existing tank. They'll have no access to it. It'll be our tank,
Isn't that $1 million?
probably.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, they're
I think it was
expensive.
$1 million 3 years ago.
It is actually a win-win. We no longer have to have storage in Maple Canyon.
Yeah.
And we get that storage up here in our city, so we have complete control and access. Right now, we don't control that, Salem does. We get complete control and access to the storage. And they're gonna build additional storage to get us through, essentially build out. So that should be about the end of the storage we need through about 2060. Otherwise, the option is, eventually we, probably in the next few years, would have to spend at least $500,000 building us more storage, in addition to the 300,000 down there. That 250,000 that we need would be about another $500,000. So it's a win-win for us. They get the 300,000 and we get our storage to build out and control it.
And more volume.
Yeah, and that alone, I think, is a really valuable concession that they're willing to make.
Yeah.
But there's more too. So beyond that, I mean, I do think that this is, I mean, I understand their concerns about traffic, and maybe Ted, you can speak to, you were gonna talk to the county about traffic studies, and maybe we can even preemptively address some of the concerns that have been raised among some of our residents. I don't know if you have any update there.
So I did talk to the county a little bit. They don't have the traffic studies. Salem is looking for it now, the traffic study that was done with the development. I think it was turned in with the development plans with Salem. However, Salem, the county, and us all met and talked about the best access, and also consulted some transportation and traffic engineers about the best way to go about this. So there are two options, basically. Neither of them will change the amount of traffic on Woodland Hills Drive coming from the north to about a block and a half below the roundabout. That's going to stay regardless of where the access is. Right now, Three Bridges has a granted access with the property they bought at that first street that turns right below the roundabout.
Like it goes into Knox's house.
It's like 12.
One below
Parker.
Knox's house. It's
Yeah.
where that new wall with that developed, those new houses are, and that
Oh, yeah,
wall
yeah,
is. You turn right there and it takes you over, you can go up to the Dream Mine up in that area.
Yeah, that's
Black
access.
Canyon.
Because the people that live right above there, they have a sign that says this is not access to Three Bridges.
Yeah,
Please
right.
go to that next
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So that is currently their approved, that's an access that came with the purchase of their property. The challenge about that access is there's not enough right of way there to build a roundabout. So it would have to be, if it's not a roundabout, it'll be a signalized access. So it'll be a stoplight, basically. So which stoplights, if you know about traffic engineering, disrupts traffic patterns worse than roundabouts. And our city would then go out of the roundabout, a block and a half, and stop at a stoplight. Now, I'll caveat by saying eventually there's going to be stoplights, more stoplights along Woodland Hills Drive eventually, because they're planning some bigger plans for that road. But
During the winter, we'll go through our roundabout and try and stop.
Yeah.
because you'll be stopping. As soon as you go through the roundabout, you'll be
It's
stopping.
downhill
And it backs up traffic.
and that road's never plowed.
Roundabouts allow for better traffic flow. So I think it is of benefit. So the county is right now redesigning the roundabout. They're going to rebuild it next year. And so in rebuilding it, they, along with I think some of the consultants we've talked to, traffic consultants and Salem and us, all patterns are showing that the studies are showing that it's going to be better for Three Bridges to access their development through the roundabout, and it's better for traffic flow. All of traffic flow on Woodland Hills Drive, whether it's Salem, whether it's us, Elk Ridge, first they go down their new road, but if they come this way.
So it'll be the same amount of traffic on Woodland Hills Drive. It's just a matter of if it only accesses that 128, whatever, or if they use both, right?
Yeah, so between, we'll say Spanish Fork, Maine, which is 198, between there and up to about a block and a half between the roundabout, the traffic doesn't change. It's going to be the same regardless of where we put the access to Three Bridges. So the choice is we put a signal about a block and a half below the roundabout, signalize the intersection, or we improve the roundabout and put the access off the roundabout. And all traffic modeling suggests the roundabout's a better traffic flow for everyone.
And do you know what percentage of the 420 units-ish of the Three Bridges development would actually come through this way? Isn't the vast majority of the density of the entire development up north? And they would actually go
1280.
way
1280 or.
down below. So we're not actually talking about the entire development coming through the roundabout. We're talking about 80 units?
And I don't know the numbers, but the higher density housing in Three Bridges is basically that north part below what I'll call, if you draw a straight line from the mailboxes over. Yeah, if you, and you go below that, that's where the majority of the density of housing, as they come up the hill, that the golf course is kind of built coming up the hill and higher density housing. So you'll see traffic going out on 1280 and that'll be their route over to Highway 6. Eventually, there's going to be an approved road that's in the planning right now that will take traffic to Highway 6. They can come out on 1280 and then some of the higher ones, or they can come up to the roundabout. So it's not like all the Three Bridges traffic comes out on the roundabout. Yeah, it's portions of it, but not all of it.
The initial build will be closer to 1280, so probably they'll turn there without needing a stoplight or anything.
Yeah, the original, I think, and this is, now don't quote me on this because this is just hearsay and conjecture on my part. But I've heard there's been about 180 units is approved so far in the development with this first phase. And those are all going right down close to 1280.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open it up to some public comment. If there is anybody have any comments or questions that you would like to, and just please state your name. No, we've got this brand new shiny toy that will capture you from all corners of this room.
I have so many questions and I've made notes all day.
You gotta say your name though.
Diana Sackett. First of all, using the roundabout from Three Bridges, I suspect all service vehicles will, from what I remember presentations here and in Salem, that Larry gave, his preference is that his service vehicles for the resort and amenities, et cetera, would use the roundabout. So let's include that, bigger vehicles.
What do you mean by service vehicles?
He talked, so I don't know which meeting, whether it was one of them here or Salem, because I've gone to both. He wants the maintenance for the water park, whatever that's gonna actually be, the, pretend you're in California Beach with the waves.
But that's on the north side, so that would
But
be,
he was still talked about all the
So
service
there
vehicles would come this back way.
that
there is
doesn't
a-
make sense.
And that would be almost probably, it could be a separate access even from the roundabout that would come from the eastern-ish part of our city, western part of their development. They're talking about putting some maintenance area over there. And so they would actually go straight into the development from there, possibly without going through the roundabout. But that plan is, that's a
That is what I
phase, that's a
remember.
future phase, so they haven't got that far yet. But
That is what he talked to, and the golf course, all of those maintenance pieces would be in and out of there, or,
yeah, and it would be kind of above the roundabout. So I don't know if they would use the roundabout because they're planning a maintenance facility that goes a little higher than the roundabout, about equivalent where our salt shed is.
which is what he was also.
Yeah, and that hasn't, there's been nothing worked out on that. But they're talking about that would be the location that would possibly, their maintenance vehicles would access from. So they would come from there rather than have to use a roundabout. They are, this is once again, discussions, nothing that I'm aware of in writing about they want the roundabout not to be they want it to look really nice. Three Bridges. So I think they're trying to keep more of the better upkeep there and not so much where their maintenance stuff would be, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, and none of us can be fortune tellers as to how people are gonna choose to get in and out of Three Bridges regardless of their vehicle, but Larry has indicated that that's one of the bridges, that's one of the three bridges, and so I think, you know, the dirt pile is another example of something.
Know what he called it. I've been vocal from the beginning, and I'm not gonna hold back. I don't care if he said 3 and now it might be 2 or it might be 7. That isn't part of why my interest is here. It's because I want to maintain what I've lived here for over 30 years. It's important to me to maintain what I slowly see us losing day by day. I want to know, Larry's a really good salesman. He's incredibly good.
But you're talking conjecture too. I mean, you're saying that the maintenance trucks are gonna be going through that, and we don't know that. You don't know that either.
No, I don't know that, but it was a conversation he and I had, that was his hope. So, you know, I'm just sharing my experience. I want to know, what are we actually gaining in all these proposed changes and swaps and trades? Why is he not just building their own 100,000, whatever that water tank is, that he's offered to build for us?
They could do that.
Why is it in his favor to build it for us? What is he gaining that I'm not seeing, or that we're not saying out loud?
So there's kind of a bigger spatial issue with this. So the water tank where it sits in Maple Canyon is a ideal location for Salem and everything that's built in Salem. It's not as ideal for us because it's lower than us. We have to pump it, but it works out well for them at Three Bridges. To build another tank, they would have to move lower, and then they have to try and pump it up to this tank. So it's not advantageous for them to do that either. So by building us a new tank and us giving that 300,000 gallons, it actually helps us because now we're pumping less water and he's pumping less water. Plus, he's gonna, because there is some advantage for him, he's willing to build a bigger tank for us because there's economy of scale. When you're building a tank, it's cheaper to build one bigger tank than 2 smaller ones. So he's willing to build a little bit bigger tank for us to do this exchange with him. So it really has advantages to both communities to do this.
And I mean, he is getting concessions. He's getting the zoning that he wants and he's getting the access that he wants. So I don't think there needs to be an ulterior motive for him to make this deal with us, but if we can make it a win-win, and if we do just stonewall him, we lose everything. I mean, he'll go to Salem and he would be within his rights to do so. And we would still have all the same issues, but we would have none of the benefit.
And by putting it on our land, he doesn't have to find land. So he doesn't incur that cost either.
I'm just still not sure that we are gaining as much as the development is. I am always a skeptic, but that's what's kept my kids alive because I'm digging for new answers medically. And I really just want to see more benefit to us.
Well, I think this tank is a huge benefit to us. It saves us, probably the city, it'll save the taxpayers probably $500,000 by doing this. Plus, it's less pumping for us, so it saves on our power bills, which also. So I think there's a lot of advantages to doing this water tank.
What else wrapped into that proposed possible discussion of a trade?
Trade for.
Did you read it? It's been online since yesterday.
You know what?
She's so busy.
No.
You've been slammed?
Are you kidding me? We had to, yes, I had 3 therapists in my house and
Oh, look.
a wheelchair fitting that we had to try to get to the house without getting slurry on them today. It's been, no, I didn't.
No, and we
You're
want to
okay.
make this user friendly.
24 hours of work from me.
So-
No, I just was hoping you had a chance to, you know what I mean? Because I know you've been really
So,
interested in it.
And if you want.
And your question is-
Talk about, I'm willing to go through it.
and you're just asking again what we stand to gain through this transaction, right? Am I understanding you
I
correctly?
feel like we're just, yes, okay, a little here and we'll give a little here and we'll give a little here. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't see that we're gaining a little in all these spaces. No.
So I think the only thing right now on the table is the water tank
Yeah.
and the access. Those are the only 2 things that are really being worked out right now.
Well,
And the zoning,
And the zoning.
Yeah,
And the new
well, and the mailboxes.
which is
And
part
the
of the,
drainage.
which is part of the access.
And can you
So-
tell us a little bit more about the drainage? Where would that be?
Yeah, so maybe an explanation of this. So as part of getting access off the roundabout, he has to go through Woodland Hills city property. Now, we're not giving him the property because we can't. If it's a city road, we have to keep the property for it. What we agreed to do is build a road there, and a portion of it's in Woodland Hills, and a portion of it's in the majority. There's a cutoff where it's between us and Salem, which is about the end of the church fence. So to the church fence is about city property, and then it goes into Salem. So in order to build that access, there's a couple things that need to happen. One, the mailboxes have to move. So he's agreed to move the mailboxes and double the size of the mailboxes, which is an advantage for us too, because right now we're short on mailboxes. We don't have enough for our citizens right now. So he's agreed to build twice the size or twice the number of mailboxes for us.
It doesn't work for me. Don't give me that smile, because we have other options. That's not the only option, but keep going.
So that's one is he builds the access. We still control.
Ted,
the
tell them where
access.
the mailboxes would go,
The mailboxes go about 100 feet over.
where the dirt pile is.
They're still on the same property. They'll give us, so what they're gonna give some property to the city that he has to expand that mailbox area a little bit, and then they'll move the mailboxes over about 100 feet and double the size of them. So there'll be 2 buildings instead of 1. And then we get those mailboxes. So it saves us the cost of having to build them, because right now we're out of mailboxes. So right now we would have to build them. But this saves us that cost. Secondly, we have a lot of drainage, stormwater drainage that comes off of Maple and part of Woodland Hills Drive and goes over into his development. And it's our responsibility to control that water. So we would have to probably spend about $1 million in building facilities to control our water from his development. But as part of this access agreement, and once again, we're not giving him property, we're just giving him access. He will take care of that drainage for us in his development.
Which he already had the majority of that in the design that he showed at Salem City.
Because we had talked about this probably a couple of years ago. So he has just been working to go that route, but he doesn't have to. He could say, and ultimately it's Salem, it's not him, that we would have to be responsible to for the drainage is, because this is a Salem City area. And it's Salem City that we're sending our floodwater to, so it's them we're really responsible to.
And it is problematic, like
It
legal
creates flooding.
threats.
There's been a house that's flooded before, and just the county, we actually flooded a house from our drainage about 3 or 4 years ago. That year we had that kind of heavy runoff. And the county ended up fronting that lawsuit for us. But it was really our water that flooded the house. And the county has basically said, if you guys don't figure out how to control this water, we're not going to cover these for you anymore. So that's where Larry said, you know what, we're building this development. And we know there's a lot of things that got moving pieces that got to happen as far as the access, the water. So we will take care of that drainage for you. And that's part of the agreement. So, I mean, there's a lot of monetary value for this agreement for us, for our taxpayers.
And I appreciate your skepticism, Diana. I've heard people that are unhappy with it, but I also have not heard any viable alternative. I mean, yeah, we can say no and he'll take his ball and go home and we end up with nothing. And so we're just trying to make this something where it's at least a win-win scenario to the fullest extent we can make it that. Did you want to say a few things?
Yes, so I'm Scott Abbott. And I've learned some things tonight. Thank you for inviting me. I'm remembering, Carrie, a few months ago, you said somewhere, I don't know, I haven't heard a single person in the city say they want to give water or access to the roundabout. And I think you're facing a really important problem, because I got excited and wrote my email because all of a sudden I see what looks like a done deal, and I don't know the reasons. And you've got reasons and you've been talking about them. But my question is really about traffic. And you said there hasn't been a study, or there's not a study available for how much traffic will come out of it?
So that, I've been communicating with the Salem engineer, and he's trying to dig that up for me.
Anyway, until we have a full sense for how much traffic is gonna come out of there, then all the other questions just sit there, because if there's not much traffic coming from the development in either place, then it's no big deal. But if there's a lot of traffic, and then whichever place it comes out of, we don't know that yet, and that's really important. And then what if we give them access through the roundabout, which impinges on our city and our experience in the city? What if we give them that? And then it turns out, because of so many houses being developed and built to the west, right along that same place, and to the east, and then they build a traffic light, have to put in a traffic light anyway. It doesn't feel like those kind of things have been considered with any study.
So maybe I can share some information that's being worked on right now that may shed a little light on the bigger picture. And this is available publicly, so I think I'm okay to start talking about it. Right now, the county, in conjunction with 5 cities, is working on a new, it's going to be called the Nebo Beltway. And they have already designed the access and a road through Princeton off of I-15. UDOT has, so that's going to go under construction next year. It's going to be north of the Main Street exit in Payson. Ultimately, they'll combine the 2 exits, but for now, it's going to be a separate exit north of Payson is what I'm hearing. We've been in planning studies, involved in planning studies with the county and their engineers about this. And then there's a road that's going to come up to 198. Eventually, that road is going to extend up through Payson and Salem, kind of near the Orchard area, whether it's part of that new Loafer Canyon Parkway or not, still trying to be determined. It'll come along 11200 through the roundabout, down Williams Drive to 88, down through the river bottoms and tie into Highway 6. And so as part of that planning of that beltway, they are looking at signals all along that corridor. So eventually there will be multiple signals on Williams Drive. Now we're talking a horizon of 30 to 50 years. So we're not talking anything that's going to happen immediate, but eventually there will be signals. So the roundabout, maybe to clarify, the roundabout is actually at the county. It's not our city, right? It's the county that owns that roundabout. Our property starts off the edge of the roundabout where the mailbox is. Kind of you go into the mailboxes where the city starts. So the roundabout is eventually going to be planned as part of that beltway as well. So when they're looking at transportation studies, they're looking at more than just one specific development. They're looking countywide at how does the traffic patterns work countywide, and what's the best way to get traffic flow around the county. So, yeah, there's ultimately you're right. There's going to be signals there, and there are going to be multiple signals on the Hills Drive. The timing of those will all depend on traffic. But if Three Bridges doesn't access through the roundabout, that signal at their access will be expedited. It'll go in much quicker than.
And Scott, I would also add, I mean, at the county's insistence, this has been somewhat expedited because they are looking at the roundabout and saying, okay, well, we want to start engineering on this. And they've given us a hard deadline, which we didn't really have before. And so that does put us in, I mean, with respect to the traffic study, I would say that it does put us in a position where we don't really have the option to just wait it out, because if we do wait until a traffic study is done, I don't actually know how long a traffic study would take, Ted, but there is a window of opportunity that we are trying to act on here, because the county is going to rebuild the roundabout and they do want certain commitments from us. And if we don't provide those commitments, then they may just kick this can down the road. And then Larry will take the other options, and understandably so. And so I do believe that as far as a traffic study is concerned, I don't know, given the timing constraints that we currently have, that it would be feasible for us to do something beyond what has already been done with the transportation expertise at the county.
My understanding, those are separate issues, however, the one with the county and the roundabout and our need to expedite that and traffic from the development?
So sort of. The county is right now redesigning the roundabout. They're gonna rebuild it next year.
Good.
So that roundabout's getting rebuilt next year. So they're starting the design on this roundabout. And what they need a commitment from now is, do they build an access to 3 bridges as part of the roundabout? That's
Why
gonna
do
be
they need
the-
that commitment?
Because they're engineering it right now. And so if
They're
there's
engineering
not.
for the development, not for us.
So once the design is done, if there is no agreement between us and 3 bridges about getting access across our property there, the county will not design that access in, and then they won't allow any more accesses to go in there. And then the option is 3 bridges annexes their property into Salem, and then they build the signal light at the next intersection down. So,
That sounds great.
well, it sounds like it, but traffic will be much worse. I promise you, traffic will be much worse if they build a signal
That would be
light
hard.
down.
I think
Traffic
we'll
models,
just start going west.
traffic models show that
We'll just go
a
west.
signal is much worse than a roundabout.
I understand that.
I really
But-
think we'll go west.
If you want to reach out to me, once I get hold, I've been trying to get hold of the city engineer, he's trying to dig that up for me. Because I'm curious to see what was looked at as well. If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to you about it. And once I get to him, just give me a call here. And I'm happy to visit about any of it.
What are the other commitments that you were referring to, that the county is looking for certain commitments, or I think that was.
Just that one, just that, so their engineering is contingent on, yeah, because the angle at which they would come in to the roundabout, I believe, is different if there's an access to 3 bridges versus if we just have it do a 3-way three-way roundabout that like we currently have. So it is something, and that is something that we're not, I mean, the county kind of lit a fire under all of us, which I think is in some ways a good thing because it does advance us forward on this topic. And I don't think that it's rushed. I mean, we're making sure that the contractual Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted, but I mean, it is something, but that's why in our last meeting, we had these discussions like, we've got to make sure that we're keeping our eye on making this a mutually beneficial solution. I mean, 3 bridges is not going to deal with us if they're just carrying all the cost and burden and we're just walking away with a massive windfall. We've got to make it something that's win-win. And in my opinion, what they're offering is a win, and there is a way that we can bind them to those things. I mean, obviously there's no absolute certainty in anything in life except, I guess, death. But apart from that, this is something that I think that we can at least have about as much assurance that we will be protected in our interests as we can get.
So,
And I'm a resident too, so I mean, I've got the same skin in this game that both of you have, so it's not like I want to see this. I mean, I'm not getting membership at the country club through my vote, at least not that I would reveal,
I
right?
bet you'll get invited.
Now, I anticipate, but I do think that it will, and you may disagree with me, Diana, I think that all things considered, this is, it's a beautiful development, and I think that it will add to the overall value. I mean, obviously, the open space is beautiful, but I mean, it's not our property, and it's not our decision to dictate, if it's developed or if it's kept green space. And so I just think that this is as good a scenario as we could have hoped for.
I will say that when I first was introduced to the 3 Bridges project, I was a consulting engineer for a private company. We were actually doing the flood study for Salem City. We were hired by Salem City to do a flood study for that development in the event of fire floods and stuff like that. The first plan set we got had 1,700 units in it. It's now down to 700 units, I think.
It's 420.
In a golf course, or 400 something. So, I mean, I think that's going to be developed at some point. We're not going to avoid it.
I still have a house in both cities. I benefit and I pay on all of this. And I have more teeth in the game because I have 17 kids. I'm gonna count it because I want to. I just really want to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, and we're going through attorney reviews and making sure we're protected. Our attorneys are looking at these and We're meeting with, not just Three Bridges, in fact, Three Bridges is kind of separate from meetings we have with the county and Salem and those guys, to make sure all of us public agencies are being protected in what the development wants to do. And I would agree, I mean, I think as far as the development goes, it's probably, I mean, there could be much worse going in there. They could do much higher density housing than they are. So and they just started out that way. I'm with you. I grew up in a town of 600, a smart farming community, and I hate Sea Grove, but it's where our kids gotta live.
I grew up in Orange County.
Well,
I know what it is.
yeah, and it's gonna happen. Growth is coming, whether we like it or not. I don't like it any more than any other person, but growing up in a small town that hasn't really grown since I left there 30-something years ago. I still have a farm there that I go down to, but growth is happening, and the legislation partly dictates what we have to start doing as far as growth, because we're 40,000 units short on houses for our kids right now to move into, and that's why more kids are living in their parents' houses than moving into houses, and so it's kind of a
elderly alive.
It's kind of a tough,
As well.
yeah, it's tough spot to be in, but it's getting looked at closely. But I'm happy if you wanna, when I dig that up, if you wanna come and visit and we talk about it.
Great. I just wanted to say again, I've learned a lot tonight, and I understand these are really hard issues, and I don't know the answer. Even though I said I would be happy with the one, I'm not sure that's the best answer. But I am sure that my fellow citizens don't know anything about this. And there are ways you could reach out with your reasons that would be better for us, and then we could have better discussions.
Yeah, no, and one of the things that I was, now that we have this proposed agreement, because all along, I mean, social media, that's kind of the most convenient source for a lot of people to look at and kind of get the
A lot of people don't look at
synopsis.
it too, though,
Right.
so that's hard.
But I do think that, at least letting people know that, hey, this is where we are, and I mean, I've given these very reasons all along. I mean, on social media, I don't, I'm not Elon Musk. I don't post all the time, but I've tried to make our position relatively clear and hopefully fully transparent. But it is something that, to your point, Janet, I mean, the information is there, but it does seem like the engagement might not
I'm
always.
just saying it's not there broadly enough or well enough or explained well enough, because you've explained all kinds of important things.
Fair enough.
But I'm here, and
Okay,
George is really good.
Some of these are, we had the town hall meeting, but this is a new development, so maybe it's time for another update.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, TED Talk
Perfect, so
or
Ted
another
just
town hall.
volunteered.
But everybody to the newsletter.
They're studying those, Ted, you know that.
Well, or maybe even just a video, Ted, because sometimes people will listen more than they'll read. And they might see the subject in the
Just talk
newsletter.
Ted.
But if we had a reel or a video that was on the website and on social media,
That's a great idea.
people,
I think it's.
people would
Maybe we
be
do
able to
something like that.
hear what you're saying, because obviously it clicked a little bit more tonight, verbally hearing it.
And I commend you for being here and being part of the conversation, because that is actually, I think, the most important element.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys are here. A lot of people don't make the effort. I appreciate that
And
you're
maybe
here.
focus on some of these questions that have been asked.
I
Yeah,
think an interview with Ted would be an awesome forum. Like-
and Ted's very easy on the eyes.
Yeah. You're talking about this one.
So the choice is, do we do a public works calendar or a firefighter calendar?
Yeah.
Oh, we can combine them.
Oh,
my gosh.
Lose money. Dora would be our server.
All right, well, we can give some thought to how we will format it, but the point is taken, and I think
I
that
like
there's
the
something
video.
we can do. So I appreciate it. Michael?
Feel free to call me anytime. I'm not a social media poster either. In fact, I've probably made one post in 10 years on Facebook.
But you get mentioned a lot.
Yeah. But I tell everybody, and in my newsletters, I have
You
no
mentioned
mention. You come in, and if I'm available, I'm happy to visit about anything.
Michael?
Michael Myers, I have lots of questions. My first question is probably the most important one. How much time do we have in the city to make a decision?
Well, our intent is to hold the public hearing at the Meet the Candidates night. So there will be,
Couple of weeks.
yeah, a couple of weeks. So I think that we should move forward with this sort of explanatory video with all deliberate speed, but that's where the public hearing is intended to be held.
Okay.
And that's September 23rd?
Yeah.
Problem is, not a lot of people come. I mean, a few do.
Meet the Candidates, I think, will probably get more people out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So-
That'll be good.
Okay.
But it'll be taped,
Put your
so people
opponents to
can
put
watch
out
it
work.
afterwards.
So a couple of quick follow-up questions if I could. I couldn't track the 300,000 gallons. In other words, I know our storage is being moved, I get that. But they're still getting 300 gallons of water, right?
They're replacing our 300,000 for us, and then they'll get it.
They Three Bridges is replacing.
So, yeah, so there's a tank over in Maple Canyon.
Right, 40%. I can track all the math, except
Right.
I can't track the gallons of water.
300,000 gallons is what that 40% equates to. Okay, so it's advantageous for Three Bridges to have that 300,000 gallons.
Got it.
So to get that 300,000 gallons, they're gonna build us a new tank up here to replace this 300,000 gallons, plus an additional 250,000.
Right, it's all storage.
It's all storage, and that's what they're getting. That's
But you're
what
still-
storage for storage is all we're doing.
Right.
We're not giving.
Yeah, no access to the
I'm trying to
water.
figure out,
We're
so
not
how are
giving
they
up
getting,
any of our water.
so, okay.
So, and it's kind of, so the state.
That's,
division-
you answered my question. As long as they're, sorry, that sounds really silly. As long as they're not getting any of our water, that was my concern.
No, they don't get any of our water. They just get storage capacity for replacing storage capacity.
Okay, so they're gonna pump their water from someplace else.
No, they'll pump it out of Maple Canyon well.
Because Salem owns 60% of that.
Sales.
Okay, so Salem's giving them permission to do that.
Say, yeah, Salem give.
Well, they'll give them water rights.
So, let me take this back. This is not Three Bridges infrastructure.
Right,
It's
this is
Salem
it.
Cities.
Right.
So when you
just-
say they give them permission to do that, Salem is the one, 60%. We still get 40% of that water out of the well. We just have to pump it to our city.
Perfect. That's a big question. But I got 2 weeks to ask them at this point. Oh, I know what it was. Well, you mentioned something about the mailboxes and the land would be, will that land where the mailboxes move to be deeded to the city? Okay, I thought I heard that, I just wanted to verify.
There's a little small sliver on one side that's gonna have to be deeded to the city to make the parking available. And we're also doubling the size of the mailboxes, so it takes a little more space. So they're gonna deed the land to the city, so it'll be ours.
Okay. What would it cost us as a city, do we know, to do the mailboxes ourselves?
How much did the original ones cost?
We don't have a place right now.
Well, but, yeah, I get that.
So
So if you buy the land and build another facility, because we'd have to buy some land from Three Bridges to be able to expand ours, which is what the post office is asking us to do because we're out of mailboxes. You're probably talking hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
I don't know what that- Maybe 300,
I
depending on
think
what the
the
value of the land is.
facility was in the ballpark when we built it, I think around 80,000,
Okay,
which.
so again, I'm a numbers guy. Between the two, we're talking, as far as the tank, monetarily to the city, we're looking at about $1 million max.
I'd say more.
If you include.
Well,
also the
sorry, I didn't
drainage-
include the drain.
Include the drainage, you're,
This is 600 or 700 grand.
you're at 1.5 to potentially even 2.
Thank you, question. Oh, where's the third bridge? Do we know where the third bridge is? I haven't seen an update.
I don't know where all the Three Bridges. I'm
I
not sure.
thought it was the roundabout, but I'm not authoritative. That's Bridge 1. Okay, well, fair enough.
I think there's one down by the wave pond somewhere.
That's fine. I appreciate it. I
A
can-
bridge across the lake, and it's happening right there in Salem. We can joke about the bridge across the lake.
I do have one other question. I didn't see a bond anywhere. Do we want a bond for him to fulfill his part of the agreement? And I don't know anything about bonds. I
It's a
just know it's
developer
something.
agreement is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Do a bond on an agreement.
Okay, and again,
It's
I don't
just
know
a
anything
legal,
about
it's a
bonds. I just,
legal,
I worry about
document.
us getting halfway done with one of these. And then, because as I looked at all the reasons why you can default and not get in trouble, it's just about anything. And so I was worried about, a strike or not being able to get the materials, and all of a sudden we got a half-built water tank and mailbox has been torn down and not rebuilt. And then what?
But I don't think that's performance, I think, it has to be cured though, under the agreement. I mean, it's not just a way out, it's not a escape hatch, it's something that you would have to
I
still.
appreciate that. I'm not an attorney. It's the way I read it was, these are all the reasons why, if these happen, then we get to kind of walk away.
Right, no, that should be buttoned up way better than that, and I think it is. I mean, it's, but you know, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, the solvency of the party with whom you're contracting is a huge issue. I mean, bonding is something, but as I look at it in terms of sort of developmental milestones, I don't see any real, like, even if they were to just walk away in the middle of it, I mean, you know, halfway through the construction of the tank, as an example. I mean, you know, it would be something that, well, I guess I'm sort of speaking out of turn here because I haven't thought through all possible contingencies, but those are certainly things that we would want to consider and that our city attorneys that are reviewing it will be considering.
Well, we wouldn't give them our portion of the tank until they finished.
Right, so
With
we're gonna have
operation.
leverage.
Yeah, so I mean, and we wouldn't move the mailboxes or take them down until the other set was up.
Right.
So I think.
And that is actually, that's a good
think we
point
need
that
to add
maybe we
that.
could have some timing.
It doesn't say that in the agreement.
Yeah,
It
we
also
try to
says-
keep it
It
simple.
says they can reuse the old mailboxes, which to me is a small point. I think mailboxes are mailboxes, but it'd be nice to have all new ones.
Mostly what they're talking about there
I
is
know, I didn't
parcel
love that
boxes.
either.
The
But it's in
parcel
the agreement that
boxes.
they can do that.
I know, I read
And
that.
Any developer would do that just to save the money. It would be silly not to, and I presume that's why it's in there.
So one thing we're also, I think I put in the agreement, if not, it has been a discussion we're having with the developer and the county, is that the post office is going to be involved in the design of this building. So we're gonna take some direction from them. They've already got some ideas on what they would like to see changed for mailboxes. And some of that may include, yes, use new parcels, no, don't. And so that is part of what we're working on with the post office, is to include them in this whole design of these new mailboxes.
Right.
And it did just occur to me that the zoning is a very powerful piece of leverage that we have. And so that would be something that we could say, well, you reneged on your piece. Because that was the big sticking point for Larry last time we talked about it, is like, look, if I can't get my zoning, I can't do this. And so I do think that does provide us a lot of muscle when it comes to enforcement.
Thank you.
I agree with that discussion, and he has said that a few times. And I think you absolutely have to remember to use that and have it binding. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing you've got.
Yeah, no, the zoning is clearly set forth in the agreement, so it is absolutely a term. And as is the de-annexation,
Yeah,
which is another big one, because we didn't want to have all this, this exercise, and then they would just say, well, we can get better terms through Salem, and we've made all this investment, they walk with all the higher density, so.
I do have a question about the pricing of the water. That's cheap.
The 1,000 per gallon,
$1 per thousand.
or
Dollar
sorry,
per
$1 per
thousand.
1,000 gallons.
Oh my God.
So that is equal to about what our residents pay, and that's the agreement we have with Salem. So this water is only gonna be used in the event as an emergency, if they ever need it, because they don't have enough out of there. And the stipulations are, one, that we don't need it, if it's just excess water for us, that we don't need, and that we have it available, and we have a means of getting to it. But in addition to the cost of the water, they also have to build the infrastructure for us to get it to them. So
Yeah, but we should at least have in this agreement the price increase with, like, have it tied to, if you're gonna base it on what residents' water is here, then it should be tied in there. Because in 30 years, as I'm paying more and they need to use it, it should be increased to that price.
maybe that's a good point, because this does have a sunset on it, the water use, and maybe that's something we need to include in the clause. I'm not sure if we did. Basically, once they get, because they've got to build another tank besides the one they're doing first, they have to build another one down the road. Once that gets built, then they won't need us anymore for emergency backup. I don't think that, maybe we have look at a sunset on that. And maybe we need to talk to our attorney about that, so it's like, once they build their tank, then they're, which I think their tank's planned in phase 2 or 3, I can't remember. So that, yeah, because I agree, if this goes on, maybe we need to put an escalation clause in there. That's a good point.
Yeah, very good. Well, this is why we open it up to the community, so. Okay, well, I appreciate all the feedback, unless there's something really pressing that anybody else needs to say. Anybody online, Brian, I don't know.
I've got a couple of questions for Ted is all. One, when we, if this goes through and they build us a new tank and we give up the Maple Canyon tank, are we relieved of the responsibility of the Maple Canyon tank? That 40% that we're currently on the hook for?
Yeah, so right now, the way it works with Salem is we pay 40% of the bills, basically,
Yep.
and maintenance. So it's called operations and maintenance. What it costs to operate and what it costs to maintain it, we pay 40% of those costs for both the well and the tank. So the majority of that is the well, because that's the one that uses all the power.
Correct.
So we will be relieved of the 40% responsibility of the tank, but not the well. Because the
Okay,
well
I wanted to
still-
know that because the tank ages, right? And so that actually
Right.
is another plus on that.
It
Second,
responsibility.
okay.
That helps the tank.
I don't know for sure.
The second thing is, I'm assuming that the properties on Woodland Hills, in the Woodland Hills city limits on the three bridges, we will be doing the utilities for that. That'll come out of our water and it'll hook to our sewer and we'll be managing that. Yes.
That's a good question, if needed. So this is an entrance into the city and goes across a bridge. I don't think they're planning any, well, sorry, you're right, yes. I was thinking
The
I was
residents.
thinking the access, but
The residential. So
yes, the infrastructure will be our cities. So we'll have the infrastructure in that area as well as the plowing and stuff like that. We're actually working on an agreement with Salem right now on how that access would be plowed, but because it's shared between our two cities.
Yeah.
Yes, the infrastructure down in that area would be our responsibility.
okay, I just wanted to make sure it was coming out of our water tanks. And
We will assume that once it's built and passed off, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brian. All right, well,
They'll
I
be begging
appreciate
us to
the
do the
input
snow
and
plow.
thanks, Ted. I'm glad,
Begging us to do the snow plowing.
yeah, when they see the difference.
Yeah.
Well, that Salem City's probably gonna do a contract for the whole development with us, because they don't have the equipment right now to do mountainside snow plowing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another potential point of
That
leverage for
means
us.
we could plow well all the way down the hill.
Yeah.
Problem for a stoplight.
Yeah, no, that would be,
Those are county roads.
yeah, I mean, it would be only to our city limits.
Oh, that's okay.
But that's a talking point for another day, the plowing for sure, and the fire and EMS and all of it. I mean, these are all things that, there are potential things that we could look at to be good neighbors, but also, yeah, something that makes money. All right, well, Ted, thank you. You can now finish your cookie and get your caffeine.
I'll get my caffeine bar.
In fact, you've earned an extra cookie.
I wasn't
wish we
waiting
had
on the
one.
cookie.
Okay, item 6, authorization for me to sign the 2025 recreation agreement between Utah County and Woodland Hills City. Jody, do you want to just give a brief?
Yes, so the county commissioners approved the agreement for reimbursement up to $5,000. And so they're just asking us to sign the agreement and then we'll get back to them. And then we can start turning in receipts for reimbursement.
Excellent.
Amazing, love it,
Yeah, anybody have any comments, questions about that?
sign it.
All right, consideration of an ordinance, item 7, to create the position of Community Development Director along with amendments to the municipal code reflecting the change from building official to Community Development Director. Now this, oh, it's you, Ted? Okay. I thought I was Wayne, but,
So I'm gonna give the explanation why, and then you talk about the
Go ahead.
ordinance. I'll just give the explanation why. And then any ordinance questions? Our code guy wrote that, and did a great job. So just real quickly, as kind of a reminder, so the state passed legislation last year. And it sets requirements that a building official has to have to be considered a building official. It basically added 3 things. One,
They have to have experience as a construction project manager, be an engineer, et cetera, which that I can check the box on. The second one, you have to take a 40-hour, how to treat people nice course, which is easy to check the box on. But the third is you have to be a four-way inspector, a certified four-way inspector, which takes about 8 tests to do that. I used to be a certified inspector, but I let that lapse in my consulting world. And I'm not really desirous to go back and take 8 tests again, especially since I've already done, I don't know how many since I've been here, just did one last week for wastewater. So what we can do is, and I talked to the state on this, is if we have a community development director, they can fill the role of overseeing the building department and still do all the plan reviews, handle the permitting process. The only 2 things that a community development director can't do is sign the building permit and do any interpretation of building code. So for that, we would have to bring on a separate building official. So we reached out to our consulting building inspectors, Sunrise Engineering. They have a staff building official who can then serve, as well as our building inspector serve as our building official. I think this makes sense because then it keeps it all within that organization to handle the building official role and the inspectors. We will still do all the administration stuff that we've always done. We'll still do all the plan reviews and process the permits and all that kind of stuff. He'll just sign the permits, make sure the inspections have all been done and passed off, and communicate any issues with the inspectors, interpret any code with the inspectors, then sign the permits. It's at no cost to us because it's all paid for out of the building permit process through the builders. And in addition to that, his time is, he said, probably about $50 a permit is what it adds for him to do this, just to sign the permit, interpret any code. So it's really no cost to the city. It meets that role and I think helps us stay in compliance with the new state legislation.
Great.
Will we learn who this is going to be? A
Building
name?
official, his name is James. He works for Sunrise Engineering.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah.
So but who will be our community director?
His name's Ted.
Instead of being Public Works Director, he'll be
All right,
Community Development
all right.
Director.
The community development.
Official.
Public Works Director, Community Development Director.
Fire Chief.
City engineer, fire chief,
Okay, just,
water inspector.
So my
wastewater.
role.
He needs he needs an 8.5 by 11 for his business card now.
My role won't change in what I do in the building process. The only thing I won't do is sign the permit
okay.
and interpret any code. That'll be done by him through he'll coordinate with his inspectors to do any code interpretations.
So depending on what
Which-
hat you're wearing is how we'll address you, or if we send somebody, a resident to you. Our Community Development Director, Ted, our Fire Chief, Ted, our Public Works Director, Ted.
You know, I'm just.
And our resident influencer
Uh-huh.
after tonight.
I don't want to, I don't even know what that means. And that's way beyond.
It's time for you to catch up.
I just, yeah,
Have no
I just
influence.
enjoy helping the community.
Yeah, and you do a great work at it. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Wayne, anything to add there?
What we did is go through our ordinances and they extend far and wide, as you can imagine, with Ted's responsibilities. And best we could then substituted where it said building official. And there's a few places where building official is appropriate, as Ted mentioned, for issuing the permits. Substitute that for community development director. And then put that title in our definitions so that it kind of, there may have been a few places we overlooked. I don't know. We'll find that as we go along. But that's why it's so voluminous, because we took from title, all of our titles and made those substitutions throughout them all, so.
Is this a title from the state? We're not making it up.
We're making it up with the state approval.
Okay.
They were
That's all
doing
I
it
care
with
about.
they've done it with other cities and used the same title.
Okay,
And so we've adopted that same title.
just so it's been proven and we'll
Right.
work and not do it
Yeah,
twice. Okay.
state says, okay.
I'm good.
The state's mostly concerned with that you can do all of the things that they outlined in that code. There was a lot of things that went on with that because smaller cities like us were really kind of worried of how are we going to fit that bill? And this is a good option.
And thanks for all your work. That's not easy to reconcile all those ordinances, so,
Jody helped a lot.
yeah, thanks to both of you. Okay, item 8, grant update. Back to you, Ted.
He's gotta burn off that
We've
coat.
got Public Works and Fire Department after that, so just stay here.
Just hang out for a minute. So what we're talking, the Woodland Hills Culvert Project, so, we had to submit, the culvert project's tied to, as you might remember, we got the NRCS funding to do mitigation basin. That project is still in the works. They're just finishing up the environmental, the EA process of that. And this culvert project is tied to that project. They have to work kind of hand in hand for them to work. So we've actually had to submit an amendment to FEMA on this culvert project to get an extension of our schedule so we could slow down a little bit to stay in step with the mitigation basin project. We just got that approved from FEMA, the schedule extension request. And so the culvert project is just, it's about 90% designed. So we're just kind of waiting for the mitigation project to catch up. Once that moves forward, we're probably talking a year or something like that, and we'll decide whether it goes into construction. If we continue to get the funding for it.
But so far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah, things are moving forward. It hasn't been shot down, but you know, the federal government, it can change at any time, but so far it's moving forward.
Great.
So that's that project. So the feasibility grant, that's the MAG feasibility grant. What was that one for?
Trail.
Jeremy.
Yeah, okay. I kept thinking about the development, or the community development committee. So we have, we're probably about 40% through the plan on that one. So this was a money given to us through Mountain Line Association of Governments, a grant to do a trail study to see if a trail would be feasible, basically from the roundabout all the way up Woodland Hills Drive, up to the park, back down Summit Creek Drive into 11200, which would eventually tie into a larger countywide trail system they're planning. We're about 40% through looking at that. It's a bit challenging, could be feasible, but we're still trying to figure out what that feasibility means. So,
Thank you. Okay, well, we can just move right along to 9A and 9B.
Public Works, I think we've, you've seen
everything.
You've seen the road project going on. I haven't heard of any major hiccups yet, you know, just minor coordination things and making sure we're trying to keep residents as informed as we can about the work. And they've been doing door knockers and of course there's I haven't received any other than just, you know, making sure we're getting school stuff and trash routes coordinated. I haven't heard of a lot of major hiccups there.
They were actually really nice when they were delivering the door knockers.
Yeah.
Very informative and very polite. I thought they were very nice.
A lot of good comments about how nice the roads are looking and
Yeah.
and even though it's an inconvenience, I think people seeing it happening all over the city at the same time really is something beneficial because it's getting done. You know,
Yeah.
people are saying, oh, finally, some of people and others are like, oh, wow, that looks really great. I think it did help.
Woodland Hills Days though.
I did think that it was helpful, the notice that Jody sent out after we had our little discussion about it, was really helpful for
And
people.
we had talked about doing that the night before in
Yeah.
the meeting about setting an Everett Bridge. So that was.
So I think everybody who
in the
got the
plan.
door
And Jody did
things,
a great job putting that together and wrote it really nice.
it was the people who got
right
the
up
door
for it.
knockers that talked to all of us at church on, oh, what's going on here, right? So it was really helpful when then that came out, when, even if it was already planned, then it was like, oh, okay.
Well, to Ted's
You know.
defense, we had talked about, do we do it Friday, do we do it Sunday? You know, how do we do it? So we just thought Sunday afternoon was the best time because
People are home.
people
And
are
it's
home,
fresh.
they'll look at their phones.
If they're
they'll
like
be
me, something happens on Friday, I
distracted,
forgot
and
my
I guess we
Monday.
were a day late, so maybe we should have done it.
Oh, I
Sunday.
think it worked out fine in the end and, you know, I think people really are appreciating that we're doing that.
Good reports of the streets and they've got 3 more days left to finish it up. We've been talking a lot with them about Woodland Hills Days, making sure our routes are open. So Woodland Hills Drive is not going to be a full closure. Summit Creek Drive.
But it has been the other days, the sections, and so that's why.
Right. But they are not doing on those 2 streets because there are major corridors in and out of town.
Because all three sections actually have red Friday,
Right,
all 3 rows.
right.
So I'm just worried about all my vendors and everybody being able to get in.
And they're aware of all the vendors coming to town, the antique car show. They'll likely be done by the time all this starts, but we've got afternoon people coming to the city, which, like I said, they're not full lane closures on those major corridors. So they will have flaggers there and be routing traffic around them.
We have like tables and chairs and bounce houses and stuff coming in the morning.
They'll still get
right?
the city.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, there won't be full closures on those streets.
I just want to make sure.
They never did plan full closures onto those two streets, even before we talk about Woodland Hills days, because of them being the major in and outs for our city. So they've always been planned to be just a partial closure for those ones.
Okay.
And now that we've got all the residents used to this project, we're starting phase 2 tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Nice.
No, you said next week.
Well, so there's 3 parts. There's 3 parts to this project. The first thing they have to do is come and lower all the manholes, because this is a mill. It's a mill machine that goes and mills up 2 inches of asphalt. And this is just under 2 miles of road we're doing. It has to mill up the asphalt, but to mill it up, they have to lower all the manholes, so it doesn't tear up their mill machines. So tomorrow, they're gonna go through and start lowering manholes. Now, what you'll probably see is local traffic only signs, so people can still get in and out. They'll just have to, and they'll just have to kind of work around construction a little bit.
Put the cones on them so people know that's
They'll
the,
be flat, they'll be coned, so they won't hit them and stuff like that. They'll try and, they're just trying to discourage people from just using them for no reason. But people still get in and out of their houses. For the next 3 days, they're gonna be lowering 5 days, 3 days this week, 2 days next week, they're gonna be lowering manholes. Starting on Monday, then the mill machines come in. That's where they're gonna be a little bit more impactful, because now they have to start milling up the roads. Those will be, some will be closures, some will be partial closures, kind of depending on the street. They're gonna do the same thing. They'll notice residents, they'll let them know.
Can you do another map?
yeah.
I've got a map, which I haven't had time today, but I'm gonna post other maps and send out more information with the schedule. Here's the streets they're gonna be kind of working on. And
Maybe
then,
let them know what milling means, because some people will say, what does that mean you're doing to my road?
Well, the map's been really good, like on my road, I've watched, because it was done in 2 sections, but people knew where to park, you know what I mean? People, they read it and they were parking in the right places, so.
while they're milling, people can probably still get access if they need to in and out of their houses. Because they're milling up the asphalt, hauling off the tailings. They can probably still get access to their houses if they need to, working with the people. But the more they can avoid it, the better it is for everyone. And then, so that'll be 3 days next week. Then the following week, it'll take them 5 days to pave all those areas they mill. So for 5 days, they'll be paving. That will be more limited access while they're paving. So once again, they'll have either detours, road closures, and alternate routes and/or partial closures. So on Summit Creek and Woodland Hills, they'll use flaggers, and that'll be just partial closures.
So it's 5 days to lower the manholes, 5 days to do the milling, and 5 days to do this.
5 manholes, 3 millings,
Oh, 3.
5 paving.
Okay.
If everything goes as planned. Now, it could take them a day or 2 to mill and a day or 2 more to pave. Depends on weather and what happens. But
When you
that's their
when you put something out with the map and the schedule, you'll put all 3 of those things on that notice so that people know the start to the finish.
But I don't know their sequence as well. So these streets, like I said, there's 1.76 miles. So it's not very much road that we're doing this to. A lot of these, well, we do have some on Summit Creek and some on Woodland Hills Drive, but we've got like a few small cul-de-sacs, Maple Ravine and Bridger, where, they'll probably be a lot less impactful than the majority of traffic and stuff like that. So.
Is Maple Drive in it?
Maple is not. Maple, that one we need to replace a water line in, because that water line's over 50 years old. So we want to get the water line replaced and then rebuild the roads.
Sky Lake too, right?
What's that?
Is it the same with Sky Lake?
Yeah, Sky Lake and High Line and a few of those streets over there. So we're working right now on some planning to look at how we can get those water lines done. And
It's really helpful. I really appreciate the map. So that I could look around and say, oh, well, I need to pay attention to my friend and I need to make sure that we coordinate ahead.
yeah.
Just.
Yeah, they wanted to jump on this real quick and I wasn't opposed to it. Actually yesterday, they said, we want to start on Wednesday of this week. I'm like, whoa, well, we better hold a meeting today. So we held a meeting this afternoon, started coordinating it, and I've been gone since, so I haven't had a chance to get the map updated and all that stuff. Hopefully we can get time to work on
And
that
I think the
tomorrow.
color color coding on the map was really helpful too. Because if you just had a list of, oh, this road will be this day, people don't really, it doesn't register as much, but the colors, it was really helpful.
Yeah.
I got a lot of feedback on that one.
This one won't be quite as detailed or thorough because it's not near the amount of streets. It'll be more like these 3 streets will be worked on this day, these 3 will be worked on this day, these will be this day, type thing. So I'm gonna try and work on that and see if we can get some information for tomorrow. But by the end of September, we'll have all the roads done for these first 2 phases, and then we're kicking off the design for the 3rd phase to do next year.
Awesome.
Or we're getting a proposal for that. That's all, anything else, unless you have questions on public works and roads, that's been the majority. We had our state came and looked at our well today. So everything's good with the state. They had to do their final inspection to make sure we're all good.
That's awesome.
So
Did you have a comment or?
The map is helpful knowing the colors.
Will you state your name just because this?
Sean DeVore.
Okay.
I live over here in West Lakeview. It's great that we have the colors, we know what's happening, but there's no plan. We have like our street, if we're gonna do the whole street, I'm by Jody, we're stuck right in the middle. If we're doing the whole street, we have to park all the way down at Woodland Hills, either side.
Yeah, we either have to park up on Woodland Hills, or now that West Spring's done, we can park at the intersection.
Right.
West Spring's not done, East Spring.
East Spring.
Sorry,
West is
I also haven't.
But what's the school bus? Cause that's the route.
That's the school bus.
The school bus will go right at the bottom, they'll pick
That's
them up in the
long.
morning. But then they do a pickup or a drop off at the top of Woodland Hills Drive and at the bottom of Woodland.
So the kids are gonna be walking
So
down
what
these roads that
yeah,
don't
the
have
sped
shoulders.
kids.
Like this with special needs. We have therapists that come to the house. I know they in the same boat that way, like, this is, we're
It's
trying to
one
figure
day,
out.
Right?
It's one day, but you
But
miss
it's
days, you risk therapy, right? Insurance and Medicaid, they'll cut.
So
It's
what
so-
they do, what I look at is first the streets happen during different times of the day. They put a 7 to 7 closure because they don't know how they're gonna be going on the streets, right? But like my house, they didn't start on until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 4 they had it back opened up again.
Right, it's right, but if I
Ours
knew,
was wet tonight, and they started it earlier than yours today. But it was still sticky when I left.
Yeah, it usually takes about 2 or 3 hours to
Right.
set up.
No, they opened it and it was still sticky an hour later.
Yeah, which is generally okay if it's a little sticky. They will be probably in for a day or 2, as long as it's set up so you're not sinking into it.
There are
but
times
and knowing that they're gonna split it in half would be nice to know Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, afternoon, so we could move the cars back and forth and not have to hike half a mile up and down the hill.
Yeah, actually they're doing all the streets at one time and it goes fast. I mean, the problem is splitting it in half is it only takes them like 30 minutes, right, to do it.
Okay.
So it takes them an hour to do a street. So that's,
I'll give you this little secret. Cause there is a path that goes down the back of our property.
I was
right
gonna
onto
say,
Valley
we
View.
need to park the 4x4 over there.
And so you could park it right there and go right into Valley View, and Valley View is not being touched tomorrow. So I've told my other neighbors they're welcome to use that.
if they're not starting first thing in the morning, you know, you're fine to, the kids to, the school bus can still get access. They coordinate with the school, the contractor has been in touch with the school, Eagle School District. They were also talking with the trash company and stuff like that. The school district has all their maps and schedules, so they're trying to work out the best pickups they can. But if the road's not, if they haven't started work on your road in the morning, kids will still have their same.
Right, they can, if it's not closed, they'll take it, but again, throughout the day, like with therapists coming with, like, my daughter is doing half homeschool, so getting her to school in the middle of the day with 2 little kids that are escape artists, it's just, it gets a little bit stressful
It
to try to
does.
figure it out and.
Fortunately, this is the only way to get the street
Right.
done.
Yeah, I mean, it is part of living up here, right?
Yeah.
But we don't really have, shoulders to walk on because
That
of
was one.
ditches and whatnot, like.
That was one of the things I wanted to bring up. This really made me aware that it's been told to us that we should be clearing so many feet off the road. It's my responsibility, and I have not wanted to because I love the beauty of that canopy of leaves. But I will tell you, it changed today because I can't fit a 4x4 all the way. And now I'm like, okay, we need to always have that path. So we can help
Flagged
somebody.
it before and the flags disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and we appreciate your points. We certainly do want to do everything we can.
Trying to minimize we can, it just, we are a unique city with
Right.
topography and everything. Like, we have a lot of elderly, and they're trying to, they either have to say, okay, well, I'm not going anywhere, or I'm gonna be gone from my house.
My road was blocked from like 7:30 till about 2:30 was all.
Right.
So
That's still
we had two.
messy.
They do these so
neighbors that
quick, that it's hard
needed
to
help
split
today.
these roads up. And what they try to do is jump around the city, so
Which
they're
I thought
not
was great.
like Woodland Hills Drive, they're doing on 3 different days.
Right.
Because if they did it all, they could do it all in one day. But that then creates people to have to walk an excessive amount of distance. So they tried to break it up around the city to minimize how far people have to go up the roads best they can. It creates extra work for them because now they have to jump, they move all their equipment all around the city, but we're trying to accommodate as much as we could, people have to move their cars.
Appreciate it.
So,
There's just not really a plan for parking or whatnot, because we just don't have.
unfortunately, if we wish we, I mean, if we had more, yeah, it's.
I called one of my neighbors down the road and said, you're gonna see 3 of our vehicles in front of your house. I hope you're okay with that. She
Right,
was
but
like,
again, you couldn't do that because they did half and half. I
Yeah,
don't have that option. I'm right in the middle of the elbow, like, I'm stuck.
you're stuck.
And now you got the Stones Highway
Right,
apparently.
yeah.
I guess, I didn't know about that. I'll be taking that myself, so. All right, thanks for the comments.
I had to come home in the middle of the day and walk up Broad Hollow and get my 14-year-old dog and walk him back down and take him to the vet and then park down below and then walk him back up after.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So I
impactful.
got it. I get it. It was rough. Ted saw me. He was like,
Yeah, see, we're helping our
Yeah.
citizens with a new exercise program. Introducing.
We got Diana to clear her
Yeah, the brush.
easement, or not easement, right of way.
That's another reason to say I need a little 4x4 to.
Yeah.
ooh,
Get
I
around
like
town.
that.
Finally got one. 12 years, finally got one.
All right, fire department.
Fire,
Are you done with public works or?
If anybody else has a question.
Okay.
So fire department, Chipper Days is coming again,
Oh, good.
this fall.
Oh, we're not gonna do it.
We are gonna do a Chipper
I
Days.
heard there wasn't
We
gonna
weren't
be
gonna
one.
do it, now we're gonna do it.
I read it this morning.
I saw it on Facebook just before.
See? You
Okay.
guys gotta keep up with us.
They told us no.
So we,
So many residents know.
Me too.
I'll explain why.
Okay.
So the state is the one who does this one this time, right?
Oh,
And this, not the county. The state last year selected our community to come and do a program where they give us grant money. We have to try and sign people up for home assessments and that kind of stuff. So if you want a free home assessment from the state to tell you how you can do better work, please sign up because we need people to sign up. It's part of what they do is this program. Then they'll come up from September 29th to October 2nd and they'll do chippings for that week for us. What they had happen is 2 communities that were scheduled for this year. We weren't one of them. That's why I was telling people, no, we were not one of them. They were not organized enough to get ready. And they know how good our city does at this. So he called me last Thursday, and he says, if you guys would like to have another Chipper Days, we'll come to Woodland Hills again, because you guys do a good job at it. And I said, we'd love to have it.
24th and 25th.
29th through October
Oh.
2nd.
Oh, September 29th.
Yes. So they will be here that week. People can sign up for home assessments now. So I encourage at least all of our council members to try and sign up for a home
If
assessment.
I've done it already, is that enough? I did something.
Yeah, you did it last time.
Did it?
Yeah, you did it last
And
year.
it's,
So if we
it's
haven't-
viable.
They're great. The state guy's really nice. And it's not a ding on your property. He just comes up and gives you ideas on things you can do better
Very
to
helpful.
protect yourself from a wildland fire. Things you can do around your
I think it
house.
would be good to get that out right away I mean,
It has been.
so we're doing this.
It's been posted down there at the mailboxes. It's been posted at the park and it's been on Facebook and it's on our website.
yep.
So it,
Still getting calls, so I don't think a lot of people stop and read the mailbox anymore like they used to.
so put the word out. We've been working on it since Monday, I think, because I just got it Thursday. So we've been working on it.
Well, I'm glad because one of my neighbors just decided they're having some kind of reception or something and they haven't cleared their property in years and they just decided to start doing it and they have a huge pile. So
I
it'll
saw
be
a bunch
nice.
getting stacked up before we knew we were gonna have it. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna tell these people? But,
Yeah,
but so I'm glad we're having one now.
yeah, that's
They
good.
had a feeling.
Yeah. So Chipper Days coming back,
Perfect.
let people know.
sign up, please sign up for home assessments, encourage people to. There's a link on the poster at the mailbox, there's one where we posted the information, there's a link where you can sign up for home assessment. Or in person you can call, there's his phone number on there, or let me know and I can let him know. I can sign people up too, if they just give me their info, I can get in and sign them up. Right?
Perfect. Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay, well, that's plenty.
Plenty.
Yeah, thank you.
I put it on the Facebook post too, Jim.
All right, code enforcement, Wayne, you have anything?
Ken took all of my time, so.
Yeah, if you know Popeyes closes at 10, so,
This is serious.
I'm trying to help you here.
yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I'm good.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, well, in keeping with Wayne's commitment to efficiency, my report on SESD, we had our board meeting today. There's really nothing to speak of. And then MagCog, I had a conflict, so I was not able to go to that meeting this week. Councilmember Hilliard.
We have not had any since my last report for the transfer station. Ted, you probably saw an email today about the TAC meeting. It's coming up. Perfect.
I haven't been in much today, but
You're good. But that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hutchings.
I have nothing to report. Everything's, nothing's moving, so we're good.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kinnison, don't blow it.
Thank you for giving me all your time. We did have I love these 911 meetings. Just one update. They're installing new software that will allow us to build our own login to get our statistics out of their system. Now, that's all controlled by the fire chief, so you'll be able to do and let all of your friends get access to that. Kidding, whoever you, so that's coming up someday.
We can add that to our newsletter, our stats.
Yeah, they're doing it because it takes a lot of time for their staff to do it for all the departments, so they're gonna change up the process a little bit.
I like to see the numbers, so I think it'd be fun to have some stats.
Lots going on down there, still hiring, so that's all for now.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Lunt.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean,
You have 30 seconds.
No, well, it's Woodland Hills Days, Friday and Saturday. Lots going on, lots of fun things. So much. So it's the 55 years since we started a community. And so we're celebrating that, and there's a lot going on. We have all the usual things. We have the dinner, the band, the car show, booths, the tower, all the bounce houses, all the things. But we also have the history movie, and Glenn Anderson put it together. He put a lot of work into it, so
Don't miss it.
It's so amazing.
really cool.
and it will be after the dinner, as soon as it gets dark, so probably about 8:15, we're gonna cut the band off. They know already, so we'll cut the band off. We'll start the movie. It'll be a double feature, so we'll show the history movie first. It's about an hour, not quite. And then we'll take a little intermission, and then we'll show Big for like the older kids if they want to watch it. And then we have the money cake. If you remember when Sharon Wright, she's actually helping on the committee. Remember years ago, she did the money cake. She's doing money cake again. So it'll just be dessert with the dinner. You get a piece of cake and there might be money in there. So, and then, I don't know, just lots of good
Keep
things.
eating.
yeah, I can eat plenty of cake.
One of the cool things, and this was one of my things, and I mentioned, but just a simple thing, but there'll actually be a station where you can do a name tag, but they want you to put how many years you've lived here. Because when I campaigned 4 years ago, it was fascinating to me, and like Diana just said, how long have you lived here?
30 years, you said, right?
37?
Yeah, and so we're gonna have people, which is awesome. And so we want people to put their name on their name tag and then how many years they've lived here. Because I think it'd be so cool when you're talking to people to like see how long a lot of people have been here. I don't think people realize how long people have stayed in Woodland Hills. So just to kind of go with the history and everything, I think it'll be really fun. So I have a huge list of needs, but I'll get with Jody and Lori for help with my needs list. It's a page long. So anyway, but yeah, it's all set. We have everything ready to go. We're ready. We're good.
Excellent.
We just need roads open. We'll be fine.
One lane, guaranteed.
You get one lane.
Okay, because that map, it has red at Four Seasons, Summit Creek, or Four Seasons, all three roads have red on Friday, for Friday, so.
Perfect.
And then it's gonna rain too.
And it
If
is
Ted
going.
had a helicopter, he could shuttle people.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Okay, Brian.
It's your fault, Janet.
He could lift the climbing tower up there too with his helicopter.
Need a Blackhawk for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be awesome though.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. I'm excited.
Yeah. well,
So
thanks
everyone
for-
come for the movie. And then we're gonna have you'll be able to download the movie, so everybody can have it, the history movie. So
Like it,
everybody
Alan.
can get a copy.
It was a teary one. It's a good
I
one.
know.
Yeah, we all got to see it. It
We
was really
couldn't
good.
stop talking about it after we went home. And I still am looking for a sponsor who might be willing to rent out the theater in one of the theaters in Spanish Fork so that everybody could go down and see it on that big screen.
Together is more fun.
I just think we might show it after Woodland Hills. I think even just show it here, just have citizens come to our big room and just have it on a screen and be able to show it for everybody would be really awesome. I think that'd be really
Mason
fun.
Theater just got sold. You know, it might, because it will bring attention to the
Mm.
new owners. It might be.
You know the new
perfect
owners?
timing. I don't even.
I know the old owner,
I know, I was gonna say,
Chris. Yep, Chris
we'll have to
Buckley.
look into that too.
All right, well,
John's now, I guess, or something.
thanks, Janet.
Yep.
School might work.
Councilmember Malkovich?
No report, our meeting is next week.
Okay, perfect. And then items for upcoming city council meetings. So I know that we've already talked about one regarding the feral cats potentially.
Yeah, having the shelter come and give
Yep.
their
Please do that.
perspective.
Yeah.
I think it just helps to have a well-rounded
And do you
discussion
wanna,
about it.
do you want to roll that into
Yeah.
when Doral brings his ordinance for consideration or his
Let's
resolution?
do it right
or-
away.
Well, we're not gonna be able to do it next.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
not then, but
So I mean,
soon as
we
possible.
can work out the details,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
I'll have to
I'm
ask
just
them
trying to
about
think of, like, if we're going to be having a potential resolution on the agenda, that might be a
Can we
good time.
consider maybe that since we're doing October, maybe the 28th, because the 14th is the start of like the fall break for a lot of people. And so if any residents wanted to come, they would be leaving around then.
Okay, I won't be here. Ben, how's that sound to you?
Great.
So the 28th, so we just tentatively plan on the 28th then? Okay,
Okay, then let's take a break and reconvene at 8:15.
Remember I said I wasn't spending any money.
Order.
it'll only be a few minutes.
Okay,
It's gonna be.
welcome back. We will now bring our city council meeting to order and ask if Councilmember Malkovich will offer an invocation and Councilmember Hutchings, if you will lead us in the pledge.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day and for the many blessings we have. The blessing we have to live in Woodland Hills, to be surrounded by trees and wildlife and wonderful friends and neighbors. We're grateful for the blessings we have had and the protections from the elements and from fire this year. Please bless us as we discuss policy for our city, that we can make choices that are beneficial for all, that we can be thoughtful in our discussions, and that we can go forward in making our city even better than it is. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please rise and join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, now we will open the public comment portion of our meeting. Any further comment? Well, do you really want me to answer that? I'm just joking. No, we always want to hear from you. Okay, then we will close the public comment portion of our meeting and move on to business and discussion. Item 16, adoption of a policy clarifying elected officials are not eligible for benefits.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Janet makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Doral. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? That motion carries. 17, forwarding of application to the planning commission for a change in zoning for 65 East Mountain Vale Way.
I'll make the motion to accept that and send it to the planning commission.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Malkovich,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councilmember Kinnison. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. 18, forwarding of application to the planning commission for a change in zoning for 90 East Highline.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by
second it.
Councilmember Lunt, seconded by Councilmember Malkovich. All in favor?
I,
He's recusing himself from that
I
one.
recuse
And,
myself.
okay, a recusal by Councilmember Hilliard, but the ayes have it. Item 19, authorization for the mayor to sign the 2025 recreation agreement between Utah County and Woodland Hills City.
I'll make a motion to accept the $5,000 and have your signature on it.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember
I'll
Malkovich,
second that.
seconded by Councilmember
Let's
Kinnison.
word it
Well,
that
well
way.
said.
Yes, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? That motion carries. And lastly, item 20, ordinance 2025-31, creating the position of Community Development Director, along with amendments to the municipal code reflecting the change from building official to Community Development Director.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilmember Hilliard, seconded by Councilmember Malkovich. Jody, you didn't give me my cheat sheet. Is this a roll call?
Yes, I know.
No, that's all right. I'm getting a sense for this here at the close of my term.
You can learn.
Yeah, I can. It'll take me 4 years.
Gee.
Okay, Councilmember Hutchings,
yes.
Councilmember Kinnison,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
You finally got it right at the end of your term.
Yep, I know. Now I can mic drop and walk. No. You never put me in a position where I had to learn, and so now I will never forget until next council meeting. All right, I don't see much need for a closed session unless somebody else.
I think we do.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session for legal
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
All right, that's a motion by Councilmember Hilliard to
I'll
enter
second
closed
it.
session for legal, seconded by Councilmember Lunt. Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinnison.
I think so, yes.
Okay, well, then we
And
will be
Hutchings?
going into closed session.
Brian, you
Yeah,
want it?
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Cal.
We're so flustered now.
All right, and the television also says yes. I apologize. Okay. All right, if we can get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to
Mayor?
adjourn.
Wait, can I ask one question?
Yeah, sorry, Chris, go
I'm so
ahead.
sorry. I didn't hear, the benefits, the URS thing, did you guys approve that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just didn't hear that for some reason. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so a motion by Councilmember Lunt, seconded
Second.
by Councilmember Malkovich. We're adjourned. See you guys.
See, Jody, will you send that over to me and I'll send it to the press or to the retirement systems?
Yes. I wanted to get one of the.
Okay, thank you.